Now this was a game that had been circled on my calendar all year long. Going up against two legitimate defensive superstars in a rivalry game. If that kind of challenge doesn't get you up for a game, what will? I knew there was probably no right answer to this question. I mean, we were dealing with two all-pro caliber players, but I just had to find a way to needle my rival one more time.
So your rival shocked everyone and signed with you guys in the off-season. What did he bring to the team?
The bad blood had been put behind us, and at the end of the day, the goal is to win. We all knew he would help us contend for a championship.
As players get into the later stages of their career, oftentimes it's an injury that leads to retirement.
After an injury like that, it takes time to regain the comfort to sit in the pocket under pressure. With a playoff game in just a few days, everyone was waiting to find out if I'd be returning this week, or if I'd hold off and hope for a win so I could possibly return in a later round. It was, without a doubt, one of the toughest decisions of my career. With a playoff game in just a few days, everyone was waiting to find out if I'd be returning this week, or if I'd hold off and hope for a win so I could possibly return in a later round. It was, without a doubt, one of the toughest decisions of my career. I had no idea how the team would react, on or off the field, to my return, but deep down, I knew it was what I needed to do. Returning from an injury like this wasn't going to be easy. And in this situation, we needed to make the smartest possible decision so I could be effective all game long. After the game, I was even more sore than I expected I would be. I suppose that should have been a sign that the news I'd be getting from Coach wasn't great. News was devastating. I mean, especially since I had already worked so hard to come back from this injury once, but because I had come back once, I knew that with a cautious approach, I could come back again. I don't think I've ever been as nervous for the regular season as I was when I returned from injury. I felt like a rookie again. Only this time around, I had even more to prove. The thought of never stepping on an NFL field again was all the motivation I needed, not only to get back, but to be an even better leader than I had ever been. I was pleased with how I played, and it felt like Coach's confidence was returning also. I really believed we had a decent chance of turning the season around. As you'd imagine, the locker room was hyped after that game. Like, I had plenty of tough moments in my career, but fortunately, I had a lot of great ones too. And I have to say, this was one of the better moments of my whole career. Thinking back on it now, it didn't matter what happened the rest of the season. Yeah, we lost in the playoffs to a team that was absolutely stacked with talent, but that one moment was one of the best in my entire life. One piece of advice I always give the young players coming into the NFL is not to take the end-of-year awards for granted. Between the star power on hand and the amazing history of the league, it is an honor to be there. I took the time to rest up and get ready for the next season. I tried to focus on getting my mind and body right, you know? And I needed it for what came next.
That was a comeback for the ages, and it was a treat to watch.
It was one of those situations where when you've been around long enough, you just start to see the game differently. It's almost like everything slows down around you. One moment that really stood out was my first time on Rich Eisen's show.
My next guest needs no introduction. Some of you may know him as the reigning NFL MVP. Others may know him as one half of everyone's favorite duo, the Heartbreak Kids. But I know you as someone entirely different. Isn't that right, Shoeless? Tell everyone at home how I single-handedly saved your career.
Yeah, that's right. You absolutely saved me at the Combine by letting me wear your Run Rich Run cleats.
Which I still haven't gotten back, by the way.
You know, it's funny you mention that.
Oh, my beautiful babies. What did he do to you?
Well, I didn't know how to get them back to you, and they did kind of help me get drafted in a roundabout way, so they became my lucky practice cleats.
So much for asking for those back.
Yeah, you know what? I felt terrible about that, so I figured I'd make it up to you.
What do you have here? Oh my goodness. These are amazing.
Those are custom Heartbreak Kid 3s. They're cleats, and there's only 4 guys that have them. Those are guaranteed to get you a sub-5 40 time.
This is the greatest day of my life. Thank you so much for these. Oh, geez. I've been so wrapped in the great Combine cleat caper, I forgot we have a surprise for you today as well. Someone wants to say hello.
What up, player? Peep this. On behalf of EA Sports and the Madden community, I want to be the first to welcome you to the Madden family as this year's cover athlete. Ooh, wait!
What? That is crazy. We grew up playing Madden, so this is unbelievable. And so cool to Snoop and the rest of EA.
It's in the game.
Yeah, I'm in the game.
There you are.
Okay, let's get real now. I gotta ask, are you worried about the Madden cover curse?
Honestly, I think the biggest drawback is gonna be all the guys thinking they get a free copy of Madden.
Stay tuned. There's more to come with our newest Madden cover athlete.
Hey, they look good on you.
Thinking back, what part of the process did you enjoy the most?
We were all in it together. And that selfless mentality pushed us to perform better than we might have done otherwise. It was just after camp, and Coach called me in to talk about the preseason games. I didn't think anything of it at the time. It was the first of many moments that would eventually snowball into something much bigger. With one solid performance to kick things off, the press wanted to know if and how we could keep that up. But it was still the preseason. Little did I know the impact my answer would have down the road. I got a note the assistant GM wanted to see me a few weeks later. I thought I might be in trouble. But it turned out to be something totally different. The assistant GM made his notes, and he thanked me. You can imagine my surprise when I read later that we'd actually signed. The next day, we were doing a meet and greet in the locker room when Coach came in and told us to suit up. We had a training plan, and once we had our cleats laced up and our helmets on, we hit that practice field. If practice makes perfect, then we had just had one that was close to ideal. We weren't the only ones who thought so. We had made a big splash in the preseason, and the regular season was just a week away. It was time to ride that wave and hope we didn't wipe out. We were all riding high after the win. Back in the locker room, I checked my phone and saw tons of rumors about players who wanted to be traded to our team. I figured it couldn't hurt to mention it to the assistant GM, and sure enough, when I brought it up, he was more than receptive.
Didn't your offense have a nickname that year? What was it?
Our backup QB called us the Show Goats. I think he grew up on a farm somewhere. Still, if master aspirations, it wasn't that, bad. Time was tight. We had an autograph signing in just a few hours, but I wanted to make sure I got enough work in with the new guys. Practice seemed to fly by, and we all left that field feeling pretty pumped up for our next game together. It had been a long journey just to get to this point, and with every step, the stakes were raised. The press wanted to gauge our confidence level. As I stepped away from the mic, I knew the next time we stepped onto the field would determine whether we kept going or vanished. We were all nervous before the Super Bowl. I mean, who wouldn't have been, right? But I looked at the players around me, and I remembered everything we'd done to make this a reality. With that, we put our helmets on and headed for the tunnel.
And with that, the dream team stepped off the field and into football legend. What means more to your legacy?
I could not be more proud of what we achieved together. And I'm still in touch with most of those guys, even now that we're retired.
Midway through your career, you found yourself fighting to keep your starting position.
Yeah. Fortunately, I already had plenty of experience doing that thanks to high school and college. I can clearly remember the day Coach called me into his office to tell me they'd signed him. I couldn't shake this feeling there was more to this than what Coach was telling me. Now looking back, it should have been obvious to me once. Of course, the signing came up at the next press conference, and the reporters' questions made me realize just how serious things were. I think we all knew that this was only the start of what was going to turn out to be a long battle. The next day, he made it very clear management was looking to replace me. Still, we had a job to do. No hard feelings, but plenty of tension. And it wasn't his fault, but I wasn't looking forward to spending the rest of the year defending my position. If I was feeling any unease during practice, it didn't show. Just the opposite, in fact. Reporters thought I was looking better than ever. Oh, it was all true, of course. Look, I spent the offseason practicing every chance I got, but it was also a public declaration. Anything he can do, I can do better. I lived up to the hype, so when Coach called me in, I figured I was to lock me in as a starter, but things are never quite that simple. The matter still wasn't settled, and I'd have to be ready for anything and everything. I had a great practice, but afterwards, something felt wrong. The trainers noticed it too. It was definitely not the best timing, but I had already worked so hard to keep my place, and I couldn't let anything slow me down. The day before the next game, I met with Coach, since he decides who's active. And he was not convinced I was ready. I guess I'd made a good case because he agreed to start me. Still, it would take everything I had to rise to the challenge. People were buzzing after the game. I'd managed to play through the injury and look good doing it. I play to win, so the team's year-to-year success was foremost in my mind.
Wow. I mean, it really is incredible. Time and time again, you're called on to prove yourself, and every time you rise to the challenge.
I have always had to fight for my position. And I was fortunate that this time I won. With that experience, it reignited my passion for the game and my desire to be one of the best players in this league.
Your final season was one heck of a ride, but it didn't start off like you expected, did it?
I knew my time in the NFL was closing, so I wanted to pass the torch and my knowledge to the next generation. After our slow start, I've been around long enough to know that I would have to answer to the media and my critics. Navigating that press conference was tougher than picking up a full-on blitz, but I got it done. Afterwards, I was surprised to get a text from Coach Vaitai. Being the veteran voice in the room, Coach wanted me to set the tone. So, it was time for me to give a pre-game speech for the ages. To say it was an emotional moment would be an enormous understatement. But I managed to keep it together as we headed for the tunnel. And then I went out for the final game of my pro football career.
There's my special guy. Ugh. Bring it in. Bring it in. Now, honest opinion? What do you think of the jacket? Bam.
It's,
Huh?
great. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
Showtime, kiddo.
What's up, jabroni?
From their early days here as the Heartbreak Kids, to their tumultuous time splitting reps in college, and finally, their illustrious careers in the NFL. I was able to document each moment of their unbelievable tale of friendship, rivalry, and ultimately, brotherhood. And you too can read all about it in my bestseller, All Heart, the Tommy Matthews Story, $12.99, online everywhere. All kidding aside, these two men exemplify what it means to be a true legend. Sacrifice, dedication, a willingness to go to battle with the man beside you, but most of all, heart. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my esteemed pleasure to honor these two titans of the game by dedicating them this: the Heartbreak Kids Field. Give it up for the Heartbreak Kids.
Got you, kiddo.